Well, welcome on in everyone to our big draft preview show. We are the Northern Philly podcast. I'm Adam from Wales. I'm here with my partner Justin in Tennessee, and as always, we got our good friend of the show, our good friend WIP's leadoff hitter Corey from Columbus. You know Corey, he's a big sports Eagles fanatic. Is Ohio State Buckeyes. He's a double champion this year with the Buckeyes winning a national championship and the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. So, Corey, thanks for coming on with us, my friend. I know you got a lot you want to contribute to the draft talk today. With a lot of your guys obviously going to be in the draft as well, and Tennessee Vols players will be in the draft. James Pierce Jr. He's a high talking point. So, boys, it's a big week for the Eagles. It's a big draft this year. You think coming off the Super Bowl, it'd be like, well, we don't really care what's going to happen because we just won the Super Bowl. But it seems with all the free agents that have gone, we've lost on defense. We're still a good team, still, going to be good next year. But obviously, there's some pieces that will need to be added for the future. For now, possibly some young guys are going to have to step up. So it's going to be an important draft, I think, more than most years, most likely, because of all the ramifications from losing these players. So how are you both feeling, boys? Are you excited for the draft next week?
Oh yeah, I love the draft. It's my favorite part of the off season, really. Like
Yeah.
I enjoy free agency and stuff, but I love the draft because I'm a huge college football guy like Corey. I watch just about any type of college football I can get my eyes on. But yeah, I'm fired up. What about it, Corey?
Yeah, man, I agree. Like I'm the draft probably obviously like I'm not gonna say playoff. Like I love like all playoff series, MLB, NHL, but like the draft, probably not including any actual sporting game event, might be my favorite sporting event of like the entire year.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's exciting. I'll be watching. Me and Justin have talked about this before. We like the draft day film. Kevin Costner.
I love it.
I don't know.
Yeah. I love it.
It's a corny film, but it's probably a bit like outdated now and stuff. But it's a good little thing to see, like the insight of the back rooms and how the
Montez Mag, Ohio State guy.
Yeah, that's right. He was, yeah, and Kevin Costner ends up drafting him in the end. He sees he's the right guy to go for. So it's a good film. But yeah, so
and Arian Foster was the running back from Tennessee.
Yeah.
Remember the running back? He wasn't from Tennessee in the movie,
Yeah,
but he's from Tennessee in real life.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Ohio State and Tennessee representing draft day.
Right.
Yeah. And the Browns actually made, when they picked the guy at the end, they seem like they put themselves together, a good team, but like obviously in real life, the Browns are a disaster, and so I'm sure Corey's happy to hear that, but
I got a lot of Browns friends, so believe me, I know a lot of what goes on with the Browns.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them in the draft now. It looks like they're going to be. I mean, who do you think the Browns are going to take? Because they're right at the top of the draft.
I honestly think they're going to take Travis Hunter. I mean, I'm not too. And I hate to do this. I don't want to sound like a hater. Like I'm not a big Travis Hunter fan. Like I'm
not either.
I feel like if Travis Hunter comes into the NFL, he should play cornerback. Like you played cornerback your entire life. Like I get it. When you got to college football, like you dabbled into the wide receiver and you won the Heisman. I get all that. Like, but it's like when you come into the NFL, like everybody in the NFL is good. Like you're not gonna be playing, Colorado State receivers and DBs. Like you're gonna be getting, like I said yesterday, like the Dolphins on one side you getting Tyreek Hill, on the other side you getting Jalen Ramsey. Like it's like it's not gonna be no off, even with the Eagles. On one side you getting AJ Brown, on the other side you getting Quinyon Mitchell. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's. I mean, he looked good, in spots, but like you said, it's the Big 12. It's a big step up to the NFL. You know what I mean? And when you're playing like teams like us, the Eagles, we've got a lot of SEC players now. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of big hitters, so it's going to be tough for him. Well, see what he matches up against, but yeah. So a lot of the talk, obviously, this week for us as Eagles fans is this whole. It's come out there again. Howard Eskin reported it, and a couple of other people have reported it now about AJ Brown, possibly being a trade candidate. And I think myself, it's a lot of nonsense. It's not it can't possibly be true. You know what I mean? Like they haven't long given him this extension. He's won us a Super Bowl, and he is got to be the, you know, apart from Jalen Hurts and Saquon, he's the best player on the team, and you know, we've seen what the Eagles are like when AJ's not on the field. We still play well, but we don't always win. So it's a sort of, it's an up and down thing, but I don't think, I'd be shocked if he does get traded. I don't know what you guys are feeling about that. I mean, I'd be shocked and pissed off, but you know, what do you guys think about that?
I think the cap hit we would take from it would make it ridiculous.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it be like 30 million in dead cap or something we'd have if
yeah,
we did trade him? I think I read something to that effect.
yeah,
It's just people, man. I think people just reaching and grabbing for straws here, just trying to get something, some kind of story going. There's
yeah,
no way they make that trade, man. It is ridiculous if you trade a top three receiver in the NFL for, yeah, he's probably the number one pass rusher in the draft, but he's still unproven. He's not played in the NFL yet. You know, we've seen surefire things go the way of the dodo many a times in the NFL. And AJ Brown is, like you said, he's, if he ain't 1A, he's 1B player on the team, dude.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, best player on the team. And Jalen Carter's creeping up there now for best player on the team. You know, we're seeing Saquon and AJ. Jalen Carter exploded last year. This guy's going to be a beast. But anyway, that's another story for another day. I just do not see that happening.
I honestly think it's foolish. Like
Mm,
I get it. Like I don't understand why it's always AJ Brown. I mean, earlier
Yeah.
no,
there was a report that came out that somebody said we should trade Devontae
Yeah.
Smith for Jalen. Like
oh, I
I
know. Oh,
our receivers are good, but like why would we want to trade? Like we just won the Super Bowl with a defense that's not full of star-studded names. It was just a
mm,
Yeah.
unit that played well together with good coaching. You know, so it's like when I look at a guy like Abdul Carter, I think he's a good player. Like, but like
Yeah.
I'm not trading AJ Brown, and I'm just this type of way. The impact of what AJ Brown does in a football game is always going to be more than the impact that an edge rusher can do. I mean, like if you look at the best edge rusher in the NFL, I mean, like we've all played against. I mean, we played against Myles Garrett. We played against T.J. Watt. We go against Michael Parsons like twice a year.
Yep.
When you look at those guys' stats versus us, our offensive line, they don't do anything. Go look at AJ Brown's games versus their defense. You see what I'm saying? It's like
mm,
so like I'm not trading a defensive player that's gonna like, you know, I mean, unless we get an Aaron Donald where I know that's gonna give me 20 sacks, 18 sacks a season. I'm not trading a rookie for
yeah,
an all pro and AJ Brown. I'm sorry.
I
Now
But
know.
look
It's
at how we nullified Aaron Donald every time we played
right.
him, dude. He hated
yeah,
playing us.
Yeah. Now
Corey hit the nail on the head.
I said this yesterday. I said the only way I would have considered it, like they were talking about the Patriots, I'll just throw that team out there. Like if we were getting like the fourth pick and they were going to throw us Christian Gonzalez or somebody like that, I would consider it. You know what I mean? Or like
Yeah.
if if there was somebody in this draft like a Jamar Chase or like a Jeremiah Smith or somebody of that nature, I would
mm,
consider it. I'm not doing it for Abdul Carter. I'm sorry. I'm
yeah.
just not.
Yeah,
No.
not for an unproven, you know, guy. You know, it's got to come up to the NFL and play at this, you know, another level again. So it's, yeah, you know, like you said, Cole, it always comes back to AJ Brown, and it's like, you know, oh, well, you know, AJ and Jalen don't get along, but that's a load of nonsense, you know, because like if you look, you know, when they put out all these NFL film clips now that have come out from the Super Bowl, you know, you see Jalen on the sideline with Devontae talking about the journey they've been through together. Then you've seen him talking to AJ Brown about the journey they've been together, the work they've put into it. Yeah, you know, there's probably times where they've had a little bit of, you know, stuff behind the scenes, but I don't think it's been about like their personal relationship. It's just been about, you know, stuff they need to tweak on the field and to get right,
Right.
you know, a business
Right.
level, you know what I mean? And they've come to an understanding, and it's just a lot of crap that, you know, they're like, you know, I don't know how many times it's got to be mentioned. You know, like Jalen is AJ Brown's, like, one of his daughter's godfather. You know, and it's just like it's not true. You know, they've had their little issues, but it's probably more on a business level, and they get it right whenever they do. Whatever it is, they get it right, and we're not going to know about it for years to come. Whatever, however small what it is, but whatever it is, they manage to always get through it, and it shows on the field. They go out then and they dominate. So yeah. So what about, like, Tanner McKee has been discussed, Dallas Goddard has been discussed as trade options in the draft. Do you think anything will come of these two guys getting traded? I mean, I don't want to lose Dallas Goddard, but I know he's getting older and they've got to give him another contract. And I know they've signed some free agent tight ends. There's tight ends in the draft. There's a lot of good tight ends that are going to be in the draft. So how do you both sort of feel about Dallas?
Go ahead, Corey.
I've said this, and I've been, voices about this on Twitter. Like, that whole Giants is interested in Dallas Goddard. Listen, if they're willing to give up Kayvon Thibodeau, like the Giants 3, right? Like, if they do pick Abdul Carter, they paid Brian Burns last year that huge contract. You draft Carter at 3, you have your edges. So it looks to me that Kayvon will be the odd man out. Listen, I'm the Giants. I feel like it'll be a perfect for both teams. Dallas Goddard, I feel like he's a good player, but I feel like he's never going to live up to his potential here. Like, he's never going to have the opportunities of like a Zach Ertz just because of like the talent that's around him. Like, you have AJ, you have Devontae, you got Saquon Barkley. So he's never going to be a top 3 option ever on this team. You go to a team like the Giants, I know it's in division, but it's like you go to a team like the Giants, you have Russell Wilson as your quarterback, or, pair him with Malik Neighbors. Like, you can go there and be the second option, and your career flourish, and like, I get it. It's a division rival. I hate the Giants, but if you do a swap for Kayvon Thibodeau, we talk about drafting an edge rusher. Like, Kayvon Thibodeau 2 years ago was looked at as maybe the best player in the draft.
Yep.
Like, he was talked about like that. And I know he's kind of dealt with injuries, but I think last year he had 11 and a half sacks or something like that. I mean, I feel like we're going to be turning into the Philadelphia Giants with all the Giants players we would have.
I know. That's the thing with Dallas is his injury history, and he's never been able to reach that. He always misses a few games every season, and he does usually have these 1 or 2 standout games where he looks like a top class tight end, and he is to a certain degree. But like you said, that to get to that Zach Ertz, George Kittle sort of type, skill, he never quite gets there because of the injuries that hold him back. How do you feel about Dallas, Jess?
I agree. He's been great, but he spent so much time being injured. Like, every year it's something. It's a shoulder. He broke his arm that year against what was it, last year against the Cowboys. He broke his arm, or the year before last.
Super Bowl the first Super Bowl year.
Yeah. So I mean, I love him to death, but it's like Corey said, he's never going to be the number 2 or 3 option in this offense. We're so loaded. What else extra would we have to give the Giants to get? Because I don't think they're going to do it a 1-for-1.
I saw like this scenario. I forgot who posted it, but it was like, we give up this year's 3rd round pick in Dallas Goddard, and they send us Kayvon Thibodeau and like a 5th rounder, I think, or like a 6th rounder. Like, I would do that. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I've always been a guy, like I said, draft picks are valuable, but like, if you can get a guy that's like ready made, like,
yeah.
I'd rather get that than banking on a draft pick, especially like a 3rd round pick. Like,
Yeah.
what are the odds of a 3rd round pick being as good as Kayvon Thibodeau? I mean, we've had some luck here, but like, I mean, the odds of that are slim.
I would never, if I was Howie Roseman, I would never trade a 2nd round pick, because did y'all see the stat, like all the 2nd rounders that he's drafted that have become Pro Bowlers and all pros? Like, yeah, I mean, he better never trade a 2nd rounder unless it's for a
No,
sure
that's not a bad
thing.
record.
I mean, he's nailing 2nd rounders right on the head every time, it seems like. But
And what's crazy is that if you look at our top 30 visits this year, most of those guys have been guys that are projected to go in the 2nd round.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why. I mean, I don't want to jump ahead, but man, I'm scared to death. I'm going to be up waiting on that pick, and we're going to trade out like we did last time we won the Super Bowl, because there's going to be a quarterback there like a Jalen Milroe, or I don't know, maybe Shadur Sanders falls that far. I think Jackson Dart projects to be a better quarterback than Shadur, in my opinion. I just.
What do, Justin? I mean, not to interrupt you, sorry, but Adam, like, you talked about the whole Tanner McKee thing. So I don't see them trading Tanner McKee, but this is one thing I will say: if New Orleans does not take a quarterback at 9, and let's say they're looking. Tanner McKee is a guy who had success under Kellen Moore last year.
Yeah.
We know Derek Carr situation. So like I wouldn't be shocked if like, after the draft, if they're like, hey, we weren't able to land a quarterback. We need a guy that knows our system. I mean, like they traded for Dorian Thompson Robinson. So I mean, like, even though I don't think he's good at all, and like
Yeah.
if they come out of this draft with some kind of developmental quarterback or something of that nature, you never know.
Yeah, it's going to be it's good. This is what I love about the draft. Like and like for this year, there's so many things the Eagles and like Howie and his team need to look at to fill all these gaps that we now have. But like the gaps, they're like like I don't know how you two both feel about like losing Williams and Sweat and they're obviously they were good players for us, but do you think the defensive tackles and the edges that are in the draft? Do you think they'll be able to like come in and fill that gap straight away, or do you think because look what Vic Fangio did with his defense last year? You know what I mean? There was rookies that had to come up, step up. Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, and they all stepped up. Quinion Mitchell, Cooper. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do with these positions.
Yeah, I think it's tougher for, in my opinion, for corners and secondary guys to step up and play the way that Cooper and Quinion did. So nothing would be surprised. Nothing would surprise me anymore. Like it's always been tough to me. It seems like for guys in the secondary to come in and contribute right off, especially with the Eagles. They genuinely, it seems like, when they draft guys, they draft them and they'll sit them and not play them and stuff. And coming into the season, we were hearing, okay, well, Quinion might play the slot and all this, and then you had, who was it? Who was it got injured? The supposed, it was Isaiah Rogers. He was like, we were projecting him to be the number 2 corner and Quinion to play the slot, and Isaiah maybe got nicked up or something in
Yeah,
preseason.
he
Then
hurt
they
his
started
wrist, didn't he?
playing,
I think.
yeah, and it just went from there, man. So I mean, nothing would surprise me. I think anybody you draft on the defensive line playing with Jalen Carter and those guys, they're going to have an opportunity to shine.
I agree. I mean, like, I might, it might be crazy, but I'm like kind of higher on some of the guys that they got in free agency. Like I'm a high on Ojulari and Uche.
Yeah,
Like I know they didn't show a lot last year, but like I like him. I wanted him to trade when the Chiefs traded for him. I think 2 years ago, I wanted us to trade for him. The year like I think it was in 2023, but I wanted us to trade for him. I liked him as a player. I liked him coming out of the draft. I mean, like obviously last year he had a disappointment season, but like I mean when you have a defensive coordinator like Vic Fangio, I think like I've seen him do a lot better with like talent that we were actually shocked about. Like like I mean
Yeah,
just the improvement. Like I mean like the Thomas Bookers, the Moro Jomos, like even Milton Williams. Like who saw that coming from Milton Williams? Like Josh Sweat took a pay
yeah,
cut to come back, and then
yeah.
he just got paid what $80 million. Like
yeah. That's something else I want to hit on too. You mentioned they've been throwing out all these trades, and there was a thought somebody said, well, maybe the Eagles would trade Devontae Smith for Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey ain't coming here because he played for Vic Fangio and he hated it. Like those
right.
guys
Yeah.
literally ran him out of Miami. So
And
I
he's
mean,
like
they're
what,
just they're
29
just
now, something like that.
yeah, they're just throwing darts at a dartboard right now, man,
Mm.
So
hoping to
listen.
get
I will
something.
say this about Jalen Ramsey, and I like this. I'm not saying I'm trading Devontae or none of that. This is just a scenario. If Jalen Ramsey was willing to make the transition to safety, I would consider it. Just because I feel like with his ball skills, he played safety at Florida State his first 2
Yeah.
years. I feel like at like this point in his career, but like I said, he wasn't a Vic Fangio guy. I think if he wants to prolong his career, he should make that transition to safety. But I mean, we'll see.
I think he will eventually, but I just, like I said, with the way things came out of Miami after Fangio left, those guys talking about him, I
Yeah,
just, that's just, in my opinion, that was a ridiculous take. Why would you trade a young stud wide receiver like Devontae Smith? I'm not saying Jalen Ramsey's bad.
right.
I'm not, but
Uh,
like Adam said, he's 29, probably going to be 30 before the season's over. Yeah, that
right.
stuff like
Young
that
body
gets on my nerves.
for an aging corner, like right. It makes no
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it's just these. I mean, it's probably all like, just like false talk that even like the AJ stuff, you know what I mean? It's probably not going to come to nothing. I mean, I say that, but then I go, we're not, the three of us aren't sitting there on draft night, and then all of a sudden AJ Brown does get traded. That would be absolutely that would be devastating. That'd probably be like Ike said it.
Now I'm awake. He'd be awake again.
Yeah, it'd be one of the biggest like draft shocks in recent NFL history.
Probably be ready to blow his stack if that.
Yeah, we all would. Yeah. We all would, man.
I mean, if they ever traded either one of the wide receivers, like if they, I love AJ Brown, but I feel like this like fan base has more of like a connection with Devontae Smith because we actually draft. Like Devontae Smith was the first receiver in a long time that we actually drafted, developed, and became somebody. So if they moved him, oh man,
and him and
it would be tough.
Yeah, like Jalen and Devontae, they had that connection straight away. You know what I mean? Devontae against the Falcons, it wasn't Jalen threw the first touchdown pass, as a full-time starter to Devontae, and so that was that, and they've been on this journey, and it all came to fruition when they, just won the Super Bowl together. So, and they've lost the Super Bowl together. So, the bond that they have, from college to now is, and obviously he's got his bond with AJ Brown as well. But
you see the bond those guys have during the Super Bowl, man, when Devontae's getting choked up and getting all teary-eyed and everything, and Jalen's like, been a ride, ain't it, man? Been a ride. I mean, those guys have been through everything together. I know Devontae was just a freshman at Alabama when he caught that game winner against Georgia in the national championship. And I think Jalen was there one more year. Is that right, Corey?
Yep.
Yeah. He was there one more year as the backup to Tua. So, I mean, they've been together a lot, man. And, I mean, they've probably been through some stuff. Man, I'm like Corey. I think it would hurt me more. I don't want to see either get traded, but it would hurt me more to see him trade Devontae than it would AJ.
Yeah, you can't trade those. So I know, like, in maybe next year, the year after, they're probably going to have to start looking at the money side of things again. But, you know what I mean? Howie and his team work so hard, and they're always really good at, like, moving the money around, or, just kick the can down the road, whatever you got to do. AJ Brown's got plenty of gas left in the tank. So is Devontae's even younger than AJ. So it's like, you got to keep these guys around as long as you can. You know what I mean? Like, there's the cap. The cap space is getting bigger every year in the NFL. You know what I mean? If they're going to add more games, they got to give the teams, more allowance for money and things like that. So it's just going to be, they'll be able to keep these guys, surely. So yeah, that's
So we talked about this. I hit y'all up with this thought right before we started the show, and it was when Adam brought up the thought of maybe trading Tanner McKee. So if we did, and like Corey said, we've got Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I'm not a big fan, but my thought on having a team, like if you have a mobile quarterback, somebody who can make things happen, he's not just a runner or something like that, but these guys that are mobile, they can make things happen with their legs as well as their arms. Why would you not have a backup the same way? That's what kind of kills me with the Eagles when we've had Jalen. Every backup has been more of a pocket passer. Pickett could move a little bit, but he's more of a stand there in the pocket guy. Right. Who is someone that you would like to get if we did trade Tanner McKee to be the backup? Because we've seen a couple of years ago when Lamar got injured with the Ravens, they had Tyler Huntley as their backup, and he led them into the playoffs. They didn't win, but he helped get them into the playoffs. He's not as good as Lamar, but he was still mobile, agile, made things happen with his legs. Who would you guys maybe want to look at getting if that did happen?
You go, Cole.
So if we're talking about out of this draft, I mean, like, I'm
just out of this draft, or maybe somebody that I'm not thinking of in free agency. Go ahead.
I mean, like a guy like Riley Leonard, I like a lot. I mean, like he doesn't have he can't really throw the ball at all. I mean, but like coming in to be a QB3, like I mean, like my guess is that they trade for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So my guess is that him or Tanner McKee is gonna be the two. Now, if they moved on from Tanner McKee, obviously, DTR would be the two. But like a guy like him, I'm a fan of.
I like Dillon Gabriel a lot too, man.
Yeah, Dillon Gabriel. That's a name. I mean, I know he hasn't signed with any.
what about your guy from Ohio that used to be from Ohio State, Kyle McCord, Syracuse? I mean, I
He,
watched him play with
he's not
Syracuse. He
he's
can
not
move,
more
but
yeah, he can move. He's not more of a mobile. I mean, like, or even Will Howard. I mean,
I
like
was
Will
just about to
Howard
say, what about Will
more of a
Howard?
mobile
Because
guy. Yep.
yeah,
No, but a name that I was gonna give you, and like I know people are gonna probably think I'm crazy, but like even a guy like Trey Lance, who I mean, he was third overall pick in the draft. I mean, he didn't do much for
mm,
Dallas, but I mean, like if you like I trust the Eagles so much right now that like if you put a guy in our system with like the coaching that we have, like I mean,
mm.
the dude had third overall pick talent. So I mean,
Yeah,
like
it's interesting you say that, like with Trey Lance, because if you remember, when he got picked, the 49ers started him from the scratch, and like I think what
mhm,
was it, like 3 or 4 games he had before he had that like
yeah.
season-ending
yeah,
injury, and he looked pretty good. He looked quite,
right,
he looked quite comfortable in the offense, and then he got hurt, and obviously since he's come back, he's struggled to get going. So it is kind of interesting, yeah. Like maybe if he was in the right offense, you know what I mean. Obviously, being down in Dallas, you can't. It's a disaster down there. You know what I mean? What's Dak gonna look like? Next year now that's gonna be interesting.
I mean, to Justin's point, like there what when Joe Milton, I mean your guy, got
Went to
traded.
Dallas, man.
Oh, he's
He
got a
got
hell of an arm.
there was rumor there was when that trade happened. They said that the Eagles called about him. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that was before the DTR trade or if that was after, because his trade came after DTR got traded to the Eagles. But when he got traded to Dallas, they said that the Eagles called about trading for him. So I don't know if that was like before they traded for DTR or after they traded for DTR.
And something about him, and I don't want to get off on a side thing here, but the guys down here in Tennessee always believed that Joe Milton could be a better pro quarterback than college because the offense that we run down here didn't suit his abilities more. They believe he could be more of a pocket type passer than a
Mm-hmm.
mobile guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're about to see. I mean, he cost the Pats a higher pick by winning that last game last year and playing the way he did. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know, guys. It always frustrated me seeing when you had a quarterback like a Donovan McNabb, but a backup, and those backups played well when they
Right.
had to. But
Like
like
AJ Feely.
AJ Feely, and you get a second round pick out of him, yeah, okay, I'll
Right.
take it. But I would if your guy's only going to miss 3 games, I would rather have somebody who has the same type of skill set. Not as good. If he was, he'd be a starter somewhere else. But
Exactly.
that way, your offense doesn't miss a beat. Your offensive linemen still have kind of that same mindset. Okay, he could take off out here and running out here. I don't know. That's just me.
So what do you think about like Jalen Monroe, from Alabama? Because obviously he's had a decent, career since he come in since he had to move up to be the starter. But then obviously last year, towards the end of last season, he really struggled and he was throwing more interceptions and his accuracy was down. But he's fast, he's mobile. You know what I mean? And he obviously needs some work now. But that, he could be something. But well, what do you think? I like him. I mean, I would think because I think his draft stock will be hurt from
Yes. The
how he
Eagles,
ended last season. See, so he
I
could
think,
drop.
yeah. So I personally think Jalen Milroe's gonna go in the first 2 rounds,
Yeah.
maybe the first three. But
Yeah,
if the Eagles took Jalen Milroe in the first 3 rounds, it'll be 2020 all over again. Because everyone will start
yeah, I
They'll
know,
start
but
saying that
yeah,
you're drafting Jalen Hurts' guy to Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I know.
you would
Uh,
literally like Jalen Milroe's comp coming out is Jalen Hurts. Like
Yeah.
you know what I
I
mean?
know
So
that
it's like
that's why it's like they've got such a similar sort of
yeah,
play style. It's just like if you're gonna get someone who you want to be like Jalen Hurts, so then get Jalen Monroe. But like obviously, unless he's gonna really drop in the draft, this is probably gonna
right.
be tough to get him. I don't think he's gonna be. He's probably not gonna be on how he's top picks on his draft board. To want to go up and get. We never know, but probably not. Yeah.
I think Milroe could possibly sneak into the first round because these guys, I mean, I don't.
They
Any other
over
draft, I think any other draft, quarterback type draft, Cam Ward is picked, 10, 15 or later. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? This isn't a great draft for quarterbacks, but down here, the Titans are getting a new stadium. They're just trying to swing and hit on something because Will Levis was a big swing and a miss.
Mm.
And if you can hit on a quarterback and you've got that 5th-year option, you've got something. You've got a quarterback still on a cheap rookie deal, and you can build on that. And that's where a lot of teams are doing it now. But I think I think there could be four quarterbacks taken in the first round. Obviously, Cam Ward. I think Shadur gets in the first. I think Jackson Dart definitely goes in the first. And
Yeah.
Milroe. Like if we're sitting there at 32 and we've got 4 guys, just hypothetical, we've got 4 guys sitting there left with a first round grade. You know, Howie said obviously we don't have 32 guys with a first round grade, but say we've got 4 guys sitting there. Say there's Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle from Ohio State, or the other D tackle from Michigan that's really good, or an edge rusher, just whomever. And then Cleveland calls, say, hey, you know, we want 32. We're going to take Milroe. We're not going to take a tackle because Cleveland's got 33. And then you can get like a 5th-round pick. How he's going to do that? Because he
You
can
know,
still get
Yeah.
one of those guys.
you know what's crazy about Cleveland, and like I mean, obviously this is just reports I've heard that like I've heard fans talk about reading and stuff like the Browns take Travis Hunter at 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Shador
Yeah.
Sanders starts to drop.
Yeah.
They trade back up in the first round. You compare Travis Hunter with Shador Sanders. You know, if Shador Sanders is there at 2021, Cleveland picks at 33. So it's like, I mean, Cleveland, like you talk about the Titans putting up a new stadium. Cleveland's building up that new dome up in Cleveland. It's supposed to be ready by 2027. So I mean, like, what better way to open that up? You get
Yeah.
Travis Hunter, pair him back with his college guy Shador Sanders.
And then like when they open the stadium, like by the time they get that stadium done, open it, they can both have their jerseys retired by then.
Oh yeah.
I'm
that
sorry. That's the most ridiculous thing. Like,
that
man,
was pretty
Rashawn
crazy.
Salam was the first Heisman winner in Colorado history. And that guy, God bless him, he passed away before they even retired his number.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean,
I
Oh
like
mean,
a guy like Cordell Stewart, or like even
yes.
like
Slash Stewart,
the running back coach for, or I mean the wide receiver,
Eric Bieniemy.
yeah, Bieniemy,
mm,
yeah, like
They've had some really great football players, and these guys ain't. You know, they were 2 games above 500 their record,
yeah. It's
and
because of
I mean,
the Coach Prime stuff. You know, you've got the
yeah.
show
yeah.
on Amazon. You know, he played for the Cowboys. It's just like, you know, it's just all that spectacle around it,
Well,
and
he he's
that's
he
bringing
literally said this week, well, if his name wasn't Sanders, this wouldn't be talked about or wouldn't be happening. Like, no shit, Dion.
mm,
right.
yeah,
Well, like he's bringing so much money to Boulder,
He is.
that's it. Yeah,
like that. It's like, you know,
I
they
can't wait
really,
to
what
see.
can they say? Like, what can they say? Like the
Mm,
amount of like TV money that he's bringing. Like Colorado is getting, like, you know, nationally televised primetime games that they
yeah,
never went out. Now that Shador and Travis is gone, I don't know if they'll still get them, but he was getting them that, like, you know what I mean? They was getting 5-star recruits. Like they never had stuff like that before he
I
got
know.
there.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's going to be interesting to see like how he does now without those 2 guys there, because you know, there's probably like another season coming or something on. Like for me, like I told you both before, like they only show so many like college games over here in the UK. You know, we only get like the top like SEC games, and we get like all the bowl games towards the end of the season. You know, but you know, you don't get to see a lot of the top draft prospects because they all opt out of playing. You know, because they don't want to get hurt. So it's, you know,
I promise you this, boys. If that happens, if what Corey says happens, and they trade up into 20 something to get Shador to go along with Travis Hunter, next season Dion will be the coach of the Browns.
Oh,
I promise you.
I would not be shocked if that. I mean, 100%.
That's what I'm telling you.
yeah,
If that, I hadn't really thought about that, Corey, but I mean, I'm like, I'm sitting here, you're saying, and I'm like, yeah, that could very well happen. We could see Shador dip down into 2025, and to trade up from 23 to 25 probably ain't going to cost you a lot. And if
All
you
right.
think Shador could be your quarterback of the future, then you do it.
yeah. To be honest, like a part of me wants to see that happen. You know what I mean? Like I would like to see Dion coaching Shador and Travis in the NFL just to see how it all works out. You know what I mean? It's because it would either be a really successful thing, or it would be an absolute disaster. So it would be interesting. And like you said, both said, it's a good chance it happens at some point during their
Yeah.
careers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Trades and off season and all this. So yeah. So let's start digging into the draft itself. I've been looking this week now on like the mock drafts from like the NFL analysts and stuff like that, and I looked at this morning. I went back and looked at Daniel Jeremiah, Bucky Brooks, and like Charles Davis. Those are like three guys I like on the NFL network of like their mock drafts. And Daniel Jeremiah, he's got the Eagles. This is obviously if the Eagles stay at 32 when they actually take the pick. He's got Daniel Jeremiah has the Eagles taking Shamar Stewart, the defensive end from Texas A&M. Bucky Brooks has us taking the defensive end from Boston College, and Drew, who was going to come on with us today, but he couldn't, unfortunately. But Drew's going to come on the reaction pod in a couple of weeks. He likes the defensive end from Boston College as well. Donovan Ezeruko, yeah. He likes him. And then Charles Davis has us picking a safety from South Carolina, Nick Eman Wori. I can't say that.
Yeah, I can't say it either, brother. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, so that's who those three guys have. And then Chad Rupta from the NFL Network, he did like a full 7-round mock draft, but we'll get into that in a bit because there's some he actually has us picking some Ohio State guys, so that's quite interesting. He has us picking like in round 3. He had us picking Latham Ransom, is it Corey from Ohio State safety?
Yeah.
Then he had us picking Cody Simon, a linebacker from Ohio State. There's another player as well. Where have I got him? No, that was it. Yeah, that's who he had us picking from Ohio State.
So me, like, I know, I mean, like, we're all Eagles fans. I feel like the guy that the Eagles want, if they was like had to bet, put him on True Serum, is Walter Nolan. I think that's the guy that they want.
They met with him this week. Yeah,
they met with him this weekend. We know how the Eagles value the defensive tackle position. Like, I mean, like, I'm not trying to like say that they don't care about the edge, but if you look at the history of like the Eagles, right? Most of our like high end first round picks is on the line, but when you look at the line, they mostly come at the defensive tackle position. Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, even like
Corey Simon.
Yep, Corey. Even if you go, like I was about to say, you go back to like the Corey Simons, and now like a guy like Walter Nolan, I feel like would be a perfect replacement for Milton Williams. I mean, they have to make a decision on Jordan Davis this year, so like if they're I don't know when that he has to pick up his 5th-year option, but I know it's this year. So like, I mean, that's something else that's not talked about a lot. I mean, I know it's like, been dabbled a bit with like stuff like that, but it's like a decision will have to be made on Jordan Davis. Like, are they going to extend him? Are they going to trade him? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are they just going to let him pay his contract out? So, as much as people talk about, Cam Jurgens getting extended, like Jordan Davis is up for an extension as well. But I think the guy that they want is Walter Nolan, if I had to bet.
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying. They met with him at the combine. They met with him this week as a top 30 visit. Excuse me. Like Corey said, man, they go back to when Andy was coach and how they would build in the trenches, offensive and defensive line, man. And that's I mean, it's proven out for us as time keeps going on. Like, and they keep hitting on these guys. I mean, you're not hitting home runs every time, but when you get production out of Milton Williams, like he played well his entire career here. And then it paid off for him this year. He had a really good season playing next to Jalen Carter, subbing in on pass rush downs and stuff like that. I think the same's gonna be for Moro Ajomo. When he came out, I remember specifically he had like 3rd and 4th round grades on him, and I believe we got him in the 7th round. Was that right?
Yeah.
So I mean, somehow or another, man, they just keep hitting on these interior defensive linemen. And I think that although the one I'm like Corey, I really think they like him. The one thing that makes me think they might go somewhere else is how deep of a defensive tackle draft this is too, though. Like if there's someone there like a Malachi Starks or the kid from South Carolina at safety, they could say, you know what, we can shore up our secondary with this, and then in the second round, take one of these guys that maybe falls to us that, like a TJ Sanders or like there's talk that like I said, these notes are all screwed up. My wife messed with them when we was cleaning house. But who's there's a second guy from Ohio State, Corey. There's one that's really high who's got kind of a first round grade on him. There's a second guy though that's got like a second to third round grade. What?
Defensive
Yes, defensive
about
tackle.
Ty Hamilton.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean I don't know, man. It's
I'll
such a
say one
deep
thing about the
class
Eagles
at
that
tackle.
they don't draft guys out of Ohio State. Like
Cool.
I
Yeah.
know, like the last Ohio State player that we drafted was I think Brian Rowe. I mean, he was not good. He was before his time, smaller linebacker. Like
Yeah.
he really was Nakobe Dean, but like
Yeah.
when linebackers weren't Nakobe Dean size, so I would be ecstatic if Tyleik Williams is my guy. I mean, he's like an elite run stopper, but we look at like a guy like Jordan Davis, where like a
Yeah.
lot of people like he wasn't valued because literally he can't rush. Like I think Tyleik Williams can rush the passer, but like I don't think he's not like a Jalen Carter or like Walter Nolan type pass rusher. This is a question
have you seen the defensive tackle from Florida? What's his name? Just you were talking about him a couple of weeks
He's
ago.
the one that's like
He's
almost
like
400 pounds.
Yeah.
I know
I think I think Washington or New York or Dallas will draft him just to try to stop the tush push.
Yeah, they think he's going to go undrafted, don't they? But I would love. I watched him, like I said, they show a lot of like the big SEC games over years, like Ohio State, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama. I've seen loads of Notre Dame games last season.
Desmond Watson is his name.
Desmond Watson.
Yes,
he's 500 pounds. Justin, you said 400. He almost 500 pounds.
He almost 500.
He's
oh my God. He was good for Florida. He's a really good run stopper. He's faster than he looks. You know what I mean? Like every year he's sort of got a little bit faster. So I wouldn't mind the Eagles picking him up if he goes undrafted. You know what I mean?
What?
If they can get him, because he's a mountain of a man. You know what I mean? He's just huge. And depending on what happens to Jordan Davis, to bring him in and see, but they probably won't. But yeah.
So one thing, and I'll ask this question to you guys. One thing I wonder how the Eagles will handle is if, obviously, I feel like Tyler Warren is going to go top 10, top 15, or whatever. But like if a guy like Colston Loveland starts to fall, the tight end out of Michigan from like 25, like how they would handle, handle that, like, because if they do end up trading Goddard, are they cool with just Grant Calcaterra and Harrison Bryant and stuff like that, or like are they trying to come out of this draft? Because literally the 3 tight ends that we've had were all second round picks, like Selleck, Goddard, and Ertz all came in the second round. So if you're going to follow the same trend, obviously Colston Loveland will probably go first round. But like I said, if he drops, you know what I mean?
I think they'll take a tight end at some point in the draft. I just think they go. There's so many of them that are, I wouldn't say like a starters, but you know what I mean. They can come in and back up Grant Calcaterra. It'd be nice to bring in someone who's doesn't have to be like a third string tight end. You know what I mean? Someone who can come in and if Grant gets injured, this is if Dallas is gone, obviously. Someone who can come in straight away. And one of the mock drafts I've seen, they got the Eagles taking a tight end out of Syracuse, Oronde Gadsden the second.
Yeah.
But they got that like via Detroit through Cleveland, like some sort of trade up or something, So it'd be interesting. I can see them drafting a tight end. So I think those free agent tight ends they brought in is just going to be, training camp competition. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
see who's good at blocking, who's good at receiving. Because if Grant is going to be the starter, he's going to have someone who's going to be able to come in right behind him to play like he did for Dallas.
Right. Yep.
If
For sure.
I don't see him taking a guy in the first, like, even if Loveland does start to fall into the, like Corey said, 25 range or a little later, that would be so out of character. But I've said this before. What Howie did last year was so out of character. He stood pat. He got Quinyon Mitchell, and then he made the move to get Cooper DeJean.
Coop.
But
No,
there's the
based off of, not to, sorry to interrupt you, based off of what they were
no,
saying. Remember, he even said he's like a guy that we took last year. We didn't expect to be there. Like, I
yeah,
think that they take Cooper DeJean at 22, but then when they saw that Quinyon Mitchell fell, they're like, we got to take him. I mean, he's probably
yep,
a high guy, and then that's why they tried so hard to move back up to get Cooper, because I think they was going to take Cooper at 22.
yep. So, but like, there's two other guys that I've got listed in my notes. Mason Taylor out of LSU, I think he could be had in the second round, and then Gunnar Helm out of Texas. He sprained his ankle like something horrible during the combine, and he did it on his first 40 time, and I think he ran like a 4.95 40, and then he did it again on that bad sprained ankle. But then he finished all the workouts, and they had pictures of his ankle, and it was all swollen and black and blue and everything.
Yeah.
He's a really good tight end, and they could possibly get him late second, early third. And we know, I think we've got 2021 picks within the next two drafts. Howie ain't going to make 2021 picks in these drafts. There's not room on our roster for 2021 guys within the next 2 years, in my opinion. We're so loaded. So he's going to make moves, move up and down the board and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I think guys like Mason Taylor, Gunnar Helm, and maybe the guy from Bowling Green, Harold Fanning Jr.
I,
His old
I
head
like the
his old
from,
head coach is our quarterback coach now, right?
Yeah.
right. I like the kid
So
from Oregon. I like the kid from Oregon too.
yeah.
Terrace. I like him a lot too. Yeah.
Yeah, he. I mean, there's a lot of really good tight ends in this draft. It's a,
Yeah.
it's kind of heavy at tight end, defensive tackle, and edge rusher, man. And those are positions of need for us right now,
Mm-hmm.
especially if we trade.
I just wonder too, like, because we saw like the year where like Andre Dillard dropped and they took him,
Yeah,
and that didn't really work out. If you like look at the Eagles this year, like a lot of their visits, they haven't met with a lot of like high end guys in this draft. Obviously,
Yeah.
like they haven't met with Jalen Walker, Mykel Williams. They haven't
yeah.
met with it. The higher end guys is expected to go in like the top 15 to 20. So I wonder how they would handle like if that guy drops, not having a lot of contact with that person. You know what I mean? Because like a first round pick and not having to actually have that person in your building and have a conversation. Like, I wonder if they'll still say, like, you know what, we haven't had contact with this guy, we're not going to take him, or if they will, go outside the box and take it. Like me,
Who's
I'm
Yeah.
a huge Maxwell Harris. Like, if I was picking, I would be taking Maxwell Harrison in the first round at 32 if they stayed at 32. I love him. You would solidify your secondary, him, Q, and Cooper for the next 8 years. I mean, I'm pretty sure they probably won't take a corner in the first round again. But
yeah?
I mean,
Yeah. There's a
Excuse me.
player.
The guy who's the edge rusher out of Georgia that they just said that's not going to be there at
Mykel
the.
Williams.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, like you said, if he starts to fall, would they take somebody like that if they've not really met with him and
Right,
stuff? I thought about that myself because, I mean, that missing out on Andre Dillard, we thought, okay, he's going to be the left tackle for years to come. We've got our guy, and basically, I think the story I heard was they called Jeff Stoutland. He was on vacation or something like that, or like he wasn't there when they were like, hey, see if you can talk to this guy. And he talked to him for like 10 minutes and then they drafted him.
right,
And I think they've probably learned their lesson on that. But with
Yeah.
it being a Georgia guy, they, in my opinion, they've probably got all the info they need on that guy
right,
being a
I
Georgia
know.
guy.
Yeah.
right.
Wouldn't
Yeah,
surprise me in the slightest if they draft some more Georgia boys. It seems inevitable at this point. He's bound to
Yeah.
bring in at least one. But yeah, there's two players I like. I don't know what you two think of these guys. They could be, say, between 1 and the first and the third round. I've said to Justin before, there's this player in Arkansas that I liked, Landon Jackson. He's
Yes.
like a linebacker, edge rusher. I've seen some few Arkansas games the last few years, and he was really good. There's another player then I like for Alabama, Jaheed Campbell. He's a
Jahan Campbell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about Campbell though is like he's a off the ball stand up linebacker. So it's like you pay Zach Bond all that money. You draft Trot Jr. You got N'Kobe Dean. Like it's like would they really value a linebacker?
Yeah.
Take him in the first because he's
Could,
going to go.
could they turn him to an edge rusher though? Like Vic took Zach Bond from an edge rusher to an off the ball linebacker.
I mean, the same was said of shit. Who's the kid from Dallas that wants to
Mike
be an Eagle? Michael Parsons. He was supposed to be a middle linebacker, and then they transitioned him to edge rusher. Yeah, I mean that I hadn't thought of that. That could be a possibility.
I just really like this Landon Jackson. I've watched him play, and he's just like he just goes straight to the quarterback, and he gets through the lines, and he's really strong. He doesn't look it, but he's really strong, and he's had a lot of tackles. He's had like at least like 6.5 sacks every year. I think last year he had like nearly 40 total tackles, 9 tackles for a loss. He's really good, but who knows what's going to happen? But that's just someone I'm not going to pick him a 32, but if he's there in like a third, fourth round, I would go for him if they haven't gone at edge rusher, and like the likes of James Pierce Jr.'s gone, Mike Green from Bowling Green, and there's been a little bit of a talk around him. And Mikael Williams. So if those guys are gone, then that's someone I would look at. If the options,
like me. I mean, obviously, I don't matter, but like, I would be cool with any of those picks. Like those guys you said. I'm not a huge James Pierce fan, but I mean, like, I see the talent there. Even like a guy like Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State.
I was just about to say, I forgot to mention Jack Sawyer.
Like he's only taken one visit, like only one top 30, and it was with the Cincinnati Bengals. So it's like I don't know like how teams view him or what round he's viewed in, but like I know there's not like he hasn't had a lot of like he hasn't taken a lot of visits at all.
Oh, that's something else we need to look at too, guys. And I think Corey hit on this on the radio a week or so ago. When you look, if you want to look and see who the Eagles draft, look at who they take in top 30 visits. If you want to see who the Eagles are going to take in free agency or make trades for, look at their top 30 visits, because the guy that we traded for in the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson trade, who's that kid's name? Is it Green?
Kenyon Green, yeah.
Kenyon Green. Okay. He was a first-round pick. And I just seen this the other day. He was taken 15th overall by Houston, and then Jahan Dotson was taken 16th overall by Washington. And we got both of them on our team now. Those are top 16 picks that we have on our team now from that draft.
Both in for top 30 visits. They had
exactly.
Young. Yep.
And that was going to be my next thing. We had them both in for top 30 visits. So I mean, Maxwell Hairston, I'm like Corey. I really like this kid, but another corner I like a lot out of Ole Miss is Trey Amos, and I'm a big name guy too. So if you got a corner back there with some swag by the name of Trey, sign me up, man. That's just a cool guy.
Oh,
but
sure.
I've not seen. I've got a question for Corey. I can't watch Iowa football. I know you're a Big Ten guy. I don't know how much Iowa football you've seen. But there's a safety out of Iowa. I've not watched anything, and I've not seen if he made a top 30 visit. I was going to look at that. What about Sebastian Castro, safety out of Iowa?
So the thing about Iowa is that they're like, I mean, you see Cooper DeJean, you see Desmond King, you see the guy that plays for Denver. I can't think of his name right now, but one thing about Iowa is that they, like, I'm not gonna say they're DBU, but like they do really good job at developing their second. So I mean, like that's usually where their strength is like in the back end. So I mean, like, I haven't really like watched his tape to say like yay, nay, this, that. I just know that like they have been really good at developing safeties and cornerbacks in the NFL.
Yes. But he's one of the guys in a linebacker. I don't know if they've had him in for a top 30 visit or not. I was writing this stuff down. Like I said, my notes got all screwed up when we were cleaning house. Teddy Buchanan. I seen Baldy do kind of a talk about him. Baldy likes this kid a lot. He could be taken in the fourth, fifth round. He's a linebacker, but Teddy Buchanan out of Cal, Baldy
They
really likes him.
they met with him at the combine. They met with him at the Senior Bowl, and had a top 30 visit with him. So
There you go.
that tells you right there, like what they
I,
think about.
I
Mm.
knew they met with him at the combine, but like I said, my notes are all screwed up, and I
There's a
just
good
had to roll
good
with it this
chance
morning.
good chance of that.
Yep.
Very, very, very interesting. I'll just go over quickly. So like I said, like this Chad Rota from NFL Network, he did like a full 7 mock round draft. So where have I got the so the first pick up from round 3, because he didn't have us picking anyone in round 2, because I think he had like the Eagles making a few moves around the draft. So like round 3, he's got us. He's got the safety from Ohio State. Then round 4, he had us picking Cody Simon from Ohio State. Round 5, they had us picking DJ Giddens, a running back from Kansas. They had us picking a cornerback from Kansas, Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. If they draft a cornerback named Kobe Bryant to play for the Eagles, man, I might have to get that jersey.
Reese would damn sure get that jersey.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh, Corey's gonna like this pick if that happens." Being a Lakers guy, like so, yeah.
And he's got to have number 8 or 24.
Yeah,
he's
for
got to
sure.
have. He's got to have one of those 2 numbers.
Yep.
Yeah, well, those numbers are free now, and you know, Chauncey's gone now, so
Yeah.
you know that number 8 is free. Yeah, and then pick 5, he had us round 5. Sorry, round 5, he had us picking a wide receiver from Florida, Chamir Dyke. I've seen him play. He's a good little wide receiver. You know, he's someone that could be in a later round. Yeah, and then there was nothing in round 6. Then
just asking Adam, isn't that the draft that they have us, the mock draft we're going over? They have us trading up to draft Nolan.
Yeah, they had us trading. Yeah,
so that,
trading up
one
to
thing
get
about that mock draft I didn't like is like I'm not giving up a second round pick. Like Justin already talked about that. Yeah. I'm not giving up a second round pick to just. I think they had us moving from like 32 to 26 or 27.
Yeah,
I'm not.
It's 32 to 26. Yeah.
I'm not moving up 5 spots to give up a second rounder. Yeah, I'm not. I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. How would you feel if they did that though? Like if they do it and they get Walter Nolan, like
I'd be madder than hell.
Yeah.
No, ain't no way. I do not want Harry to give up a second round pick, dude. I don't. He is he's just batting 1,000. It seems like on second round picks.
Too, like they've said it. Everybody has said it. Mel Kiper Jr., Daniel Jeremiah, even they got Todd McShay on the show yesterday. Like you have like 6 or 7 guys that are like looked at as the top 10, and then from like 11 to like 40, there's not a huge gap in the players. Yep. So if you give up a second round pick and you move up to 26 and you don't pick again from like 26 to 105, that's so much talent that you're missing out on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you're giving up an extra pick. Like if that's the case, I would rather move back. Like, you know,
that's what I was about to say. I'd rather trade back and try to have 2 second round picks as far as that goes before I lost a second just to move up, 8 picks to get Walter Nolan. Because like I said, this is such a deep class at defensive tackle. I don't know, like with those guys that are going to be around that area, I don't know if there's that much of a gap to give up a second round pick on. And somebody else.
Harder.
Yeah, somebody else that I really like that they've been having on the show, on the afternoon show, Mike Mayock. Man, I love that dude when he was on NFL Network, and I wish they would have him back on. I loved all his draft insight and stuff, and they've had him on this year instead of Daniel Jeremiah. It used to be Daniel Jeremiah they would have on in the afternoons, but they've brung Mayock back this year. I love Mike Mayock, man.
Me too.
He has some really good. He may have sucked as a GM, but I love all his draft insight stuff. I used to love him on the NFL Network.
He does a podcast with his daughter.
Gruden was the one that was calling the shots.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. So there's the yeah. Okay, here's somebody else. Jalen Reed out of Penn State. He's another safety.
Oh
Now
yeah,
I
I like
know they
yeah.
met with him at the combine. Did they have a top 30 with him, Corey?
Yep, yep.
They did. Okay, he's another one I like as well. So I mean, and Malachi Moore, the safety out of Alabama. They met with him at the either the combine or the Senior Bowl or something like that as well. Not sure if they had a top 30 visit with him either though. But he's another safety that you could get in the later rounds.
So
That's
Xavier
why.
Watts, Notre Dame. He's good.
Yeah, they had one with him too.
They did they?
so right here, so I got the list right here. So they had top 30 visits with Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle out of Oregon,
Yeah.
the Boston College edge Donovan Ezraruki, Malachi Starks from Georgia, Trey Amos, Maxwell Harrison, Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State, T.J. Sanders out of South
South
Carolina,
Carolina.
Carolina, yeah.
Yep. Nick Scrouton out of Texas A&M, Anthony Belton out of North Carolina State, Charles Gant out of Williams and Mary. This edge rusher from UCLA that I'm not even going to try to attempt his name.
Yep, I know who you're talking about.
Tyleek Williams, the defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Offensive guard Dylan Fairchild from Georgia. West Virginia offensive tackle Wyatt Millum. I like him a lot. That dude's a mauler. And then Purdue's offensive tackle Marcus Embo.
Yes.
Kansas State cornerback Jacob Parrish. Penn State safety Jalen Reed. SMU edge Elijah Roberts. Texas A&M defensive tackle Shamar Turner. Running back from Syracuse LaKink Allen. Edge rusher from Miami, Tyler Barron. Texas from running back from Texas Jaden Blue. Penn State linebacker Kobe King, and USC cornerback Jalen Smith. And those are the only ones that's been reported so far, they said.
Some Ohio State guys in there, Cole. You know what I mean? There's a good chance.
If they're going to take somebody out of Ohio State, it's either going to be Donovan Jackson or they're going to take Tyleek Williams. But if I had to put money on it, I would put Donovan Jackson more.
Yeah, I would say
Donovan Jackson can play like when Josh Simmons got hurt this year. Donovan Jackson went from guard and replaced him at left tackle, and he was our left tackle all season after he got hurt in the second game. But his natural position is guard, so like you have that versatility there. I mean, you literally was just a left tackle on a national championship team, and then your natural position is guard. So I mean, like that's literally what they love.
That's interesting though, because like you know, like they've brought in obviously that guard from the Texans, and Lane Johnson has signed another little. He's like restructured his contract again, and he said he's staying for another couple of years or so. So you know, you've still got Tyler Steen as well. He's going to be battling for that like left guard position. So you know,
the guy from Michigan that they drafted last year too. What's his name?
Trevor Keegan.
Trevor Keegan. He's man. They liked him a lot last year in the camp and everything, from what I heard as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Like, I know we were talking about like the defensive tackle and how deep the draft is for that, but it's deep for the O line as well. So and like you know how he likes to build in the trenches. So does he draft another O lineman? Do you think?
So this is my thing with like a guy like Donovan Jackson. I'm just going to put my Buckeye hat on here for a second.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, you have Lane Johnson, you have Jordan Mailata, but like. They like our offensive line is obviously elite, but all of those guys miss games. Landon Dickerson misses games. Jordan Mailata misses games.
Yeah.
I mean, we know Lane Johnson can miss games, and Cam Jurgens dealing with his back. Like we don't know what that's going to be like going forward with his back injury. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like having guys that can be versatile at the offensive line, I feel like is always valuable. Because, I mean, once you get past the top four, I mean, Tyler Steen, the team, I'm not going to say they're not high on them, but, like, I mean, yeah, and then Trevor Keegan is still unknown. Like, there's not, like, a lot of, like, well-known, like, we don't have, like, a Isaac Seumalo sitting on the bench, or we don't have, like, a guy like that just, we got him, or even Fred Johnson's gone,
Yeah. I like Fred Johnson. I was gutted. seen him go, but I suppose he's going to get a starting job down in Jacksonville, and
Yeah.
but just a shame because he felt he did well when he came in. Oh, that's the thing, how he's really good at drafting linemen, because the guys he brings in, like when Malata goes out, when Jurgens goes out, Lane goes out, he's always got guys that come in and they do a decent job. Like Jack Driscoll, when he was here, he wasn't perfect, but he did okay at times, when he filled in for Lane. Yeah, so yeah.
Right.
So as far as I guess, who would you guys rather take? Like, if you could take out of reasonably, who would be there? We stand pat at 32. Who would you guys take?
If I'm at 32 and I'm drafting, I told you I'm taking Maxwell Harrison. I mean, I'm sorry, like his ball skills is like everyone talks about. Obviously, Travis Hunter being this great like explosive corner. Like, to me, him and Travis Hunter is like this when it comes to like attacking the football. And then you have him, you have Quinyon Mitchell, and you have Cooper DeJean for the next 5 to 8 years, and
Yeah.
you never worrying about our cornerback position, and that's just my opinion.
This is probably going to sound like crazy, and it's not going to happen, like especially not the first round. But I really like Malachi Starks, the safety in Georgia. I think he's really good, but they're not going to get him in the first round, and he could end up going before that, maybe. I don't know, but if he's there at 32,
I wouldn't rule that out.
yeah, if there's other pieces or other guys that aren't there that they liked, and he happens to fall there, I would take it, because we rely now on Reed Blankenship, and I know Reed has been steady and good. He has. He's not fantastic. He's not the best safety, but he comes in, he does his job. He's got an eye for the ball. You know what I mean? He's always making tackles. He always makes these big interceptions at the right time. But then Sidney Brown is still an unknown. Is he finally going to get his chance to compete for that this year? We don't know. I like Sidney Brown. He flies around when he gets his opportunity. He's good on special teams. So, but we don't know what Vic Fangio really thinks of him yet. So, if Chauncey is gone now because they want to free up money or whatever, why not?
I mean, we know what Vic Van. I mean, when CJ got hurt, they went into Tristan McCullum, or when Reed got hurt, they went. So that tells you what Vic thinks of him. I mean,
yeah, that's the other thing. That's not promising, is it? It's not good.
Yeah. So if it falls the way it does, man, I agree with Corey. If you get Maxwell Harrison out there on the opposite side of Coop and Quinyon, man, you're gonna have a lockdown secondary for years to come, for the next 8 to 10 years possibly. And it's going to get expensive, but when you draft as good as the Eagles do, and if you get as lucky as we got last year again this year with a corner like that falling to you, you got to pounce. You really do. And the same thing with Starks. If something funny happens and there are 5 quarterbacks taken, the more quarterbacks taken, the better for us. That just pushes more talent down for us.
Exactly.
The more offensive linemen get taken, the more talent that pushes down to us at positions of need for us. I think the Eagles will go defensive tackle, but they may surprise us again and go corner in the first round again and be like, hell with it. We're locking it down.
I got something for you guys. And like I said, this is something I talked to you about, like not meeting with players. If Will Johnson from Michigan, the cornerback from Michigan, drops, and I think there's a chance that I think Walter Nolan could go to the Niners as early as the Niners at 10. You know what I mean? I feel like that. And then Will Johnson starts to drop. If I'm drafting, I'm going up to get that guy, because I think he's better than Travis Hunter. I think he's better than all those guys. He just dealt with injuries last year.
Yeah. What's the thing that I seen Corey tweet this out, and I totally agree with it. Travis Hunter said he would rather retire than not play corner and wide receiver, and I mean that's just ridiculous. And there's an old saying
he has an injury history as well. So why would you want to take that risk in the NFL playing corner and wide receiver? And I don't think teams are going to want to do that with him as well. As as good as they project him to be, as good as he's been, talented he is. They're not gonna let him do it. They're gonna be like, no,
But
you're
I don't
one
think
or the other.
how good players are in the NFL. Like, this isn't college. Like,
Yeah.
this is Colorado State where people aren't going to take shots at you. Like, if I was him, if I was a coach, I would let him play every snap one game and let him see how he feels after that
See how he
game.
feels. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, you obviously don't want to injure your guy, but it's like, dude, like, this isn't college football. Like, you're not going to be going up against quarterbacks that's never going to.
Baylor.
Yeah, well, like a quarterback that's probably never going to play in the NFL. Like, these guys are like the worst guy in the NFL would be the best guy in college. In some colleges, like, I mean, the worst, like,
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, okay, let's take Tanner McKee. You put him on any team that played against Colorado this year. It's going to be tougher, man. Playing quarterback. I mean, playing corner against these guys. You're playing. If he's in Cleveland, okay, he's going up against DK Metcalf and George Pickens in Pittsburgh twice a year. Those are some big boys that's going to beat his brains out if he ain't careful.
You went with the second. He got to go against Ja'Marr and
Jamar and T. Higgins. Okay,
Yeah.
I was just looking at those two guys because how big and physical they are. Like, those guys are monsters, literal monsters. And George Pickens is just crazy. He's liable to just rip his helmet off and start fighting him right there. But I mean, this ain't the Big 12. This ain't college
and the
football.
quarterback in that division is not going to be afraid to throw to you.
No.
Joe Burrow will throw at you every chance he gets if he's got Jamar Chase lined up on you.
Yeah, of course. Those guys have been paid now. They've both been paid. Burrow's got his guys now locked down, so it's no excuses for Cincinnati anymore. They've got. I know they haven't got the defense and all that, but that's whatever. Jalen doesn't get that excuse. You know what I mean? If Jalen doesn't get to the playoffs, it'll be all of Jalen's fault. You know what I mean? He doesn't get the same excuses that Joe Burrow gets. So there's no more excuses now. It's Joe Burrow's guys. They paid him. Paid his guys, they got to go with it now. So, yeah.
One last question from me for you guys. So, how, like, obviously we talk about the defensive tackle. How do you guys view, because, like, you kind of talked about this, Adam, at the beginning, the trade market, the edge rusher. So, I mean, we talked about Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah.
Got a guy like Trey Hendrickson that still hasn't been paid in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I mean, the big fish and TJ Watt. Like, I don't know, me personally, if you could get any of those guys, I'm not giving up the farm to get them, but I would take any of those three guys on our team right now.
Yeah, I would give up. I would give up like Dallas Goedert for any one of those guys. TJ Watt, I think I want the most out of them three. He's just, I know he had a little bit of injury nick-ups last year, but he's just an animal. And I got a friend who I used to work with who's a big Steelers fan, Julian, and he would be devastated if the Eagles traded for TJ Watt. He would be absolutely livid. So, yeah.
My son, one of his best friends, is a big Steelers fan, and when all that stuff started coming out, like WIP was putting stuff on Twitter, I sent it to him. He said I would stop being a Steelers fan if they traded him to the Eagles. I said, well, you can come right on aboard the Eagles train with us, and you can be a winner again and stop being a 500 team and just making it to the playoffs.
I don't think the Steelers will trade him. I mean, you can't trade TJ Watt. He's still a really good player. He's still one of the best at his position. And I don't know how old he is. I don't think he's not.
I think he's not 30 yet, is he?
I think him and Trey Hendrickson were in the same draft. So, like, that, I think they're both either 29 or 30. But I mean, even a guy like Trey Hendrickson, like, I don't think he gets talked about. And I think like the stats show, he, in the last 5 years, he's the third in sacks behind Watt and Garrett.
Yeah.
It's because he plays in Cincinnati.
But what's crazy is that all three of them are in the same division too, like TJ Watt. But I mean, a guy like Trey Hendrickson, I feel like would be the cheapest to get out of those three.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
Cincinnati, I mean, I don't know who's a worse organization, the Giants or Cincinnati. Obviously, Cincinnati has more talent, but I mean, like, front office wise, they're both pretty bad.
It's got to be the Giants.
Oh,
The Giants have got to be the worst. Like you don't trade away. You don't give away Saquon Barkley and then you go sign. What did they? The other running back
Daniel
they signed,
Jones.
and they give him
Oh,
some. No, yeah,
Yeah,
they signed Daniel Jones, but they just
Devin.
signed like another running back to like
Yeah,
$20 million, but they could have given to, like they could have
yeah.
put on to Saquon's contract or something. I
Oh
see
yeah. Well they I don't know who they signed. Yeah, who was it? I know who you're talking about. So like, yeah, I saw
Singletary was it? Is it Devin Singletary?
it might have
Singletary?
been like it's like they let Xavier McKinney and
Saquon both go.
Saquon leave, and they replaced them with like lesser talents and paid
Yeah.
those guys for like.
Yeah,
Yep.
like just. I mean, if
It's
Shador
insane.
Sanders does get drafted to the Giants or Travis Hunter goes to the Giants, I mean, what are they going to be able to do in the Giants? You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's a disaster there. You know what I mean? Like this is why I think this draft is really important now for the Eagles because like we finally in that position where we can. I hate saying like oh dynasty and all that because like when the Chiefs were talking about their three-peat in the dynasty, it was just like I was like it just sounds so corny and stupid and it just made me cringe and but like they we're in such a good position now where we can be that elite team every year, you know what I mean, with Buffalo
Yeah.
and with Kansas and the 49ers when they are at their best. Obviously they're
Right.
like going through a rebuild now, so they're not going to be there for maybe another couple of years or so. But we've got this unique opportunity now that we haven't had for a long time. Like after we won the Super Bowl in 2017, think how hard like 2018 and 2019 was like a push and pull sort of year. Carson, where you didn't know what the hell was going on with him. He's back, and then he tried to come back, and and then 2020 was an absolute disaster. And then they had to go. They give Jalen his chance, and he's and look how far we've come now. We're in this really good position. That's why this draft is just so more important because we won the Super Bowl and we've got to try our best now to like keep building at every position we can so we can stay up there to be a contender so we can at least the very least go to the NFC Championship game every year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Oh, for,
I mean, it's totally different than what it was in 17 coming off because we thought, Carson might struggle coming off of the knee and everything like that, and then he wound up getting hurt in his back that season. But we have a fully healthy Jalen Hurts who's committed, who's back in the lab, who's back working out. We saw the video
Yeah. At
yesterday.
4
I
a.m.
mean,
4
it's
a.m.
yeah,
man.
it's. I mean, it's just a totally different. Don't get me wrong. I was a Carson guy, but Jalen's just got that like I like to call it that Mamba
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah.
Nothing's never enough. It's like Jalen when Derek Jeter talked about it, like this guy, he wanted to know what it took to win multiple championships. Like one ain't going to satisfy him.
Yeah. You've got to
what's
be a
about
special athlete to
Yeah,
go to dinner with Michael Jordan.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Not
exactly?
many
And
people get invited to go to
what's
dinner with
crazy
him.
about Jalen too is like I mean I know he got voted to like that top 100 influential list or
yeah,
time, but it's like when you see stuff like that and you just see the way Jalen is, and it's some guys it's not just the way they are, it's just that how they carry themselves. They
Yeah.
have like that gravitational pull to people, and like I understand now why Carson Wentz what happened to him happened because
Mm.
you see like how Jalen Hurts is as a person now, like most influential Super Bowl MVP, the way he carries himself, like the
Yeah.
aura he has, like it's like this guy comes into the locker room and I'm supposed to compete with this dude, like I'm like,
yeah,
Yeah, it was like soon as Jalen like stepped in that locker room, like I think they all knew pretty quick that like this is Jalen's team now, especially
yeah,
when he came in for Carson in the Packers game, and then from then he was the starter, and it's just like he just made those guys rally around him, and like I know everyone sort of like has issues with him not being like a vocal leader and this that and the other, but like you said, Cole, he has this gravitational pull. He leads by example. You know what I mean? He leads by his play on the field. And, like at the parade, you know what I mean? Like what I enjoyed at the parade was like most of their speeches, like from like Nick, Jeffrey Lurie, Jalen, they kept the main thing, didn't they? You know what I mean? They were like,
right,
it was short and sweet. The next pursuit begins, and that's it. We're not coming for 2 Super Bowls. We won a 3rd Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And I still, as part of me, still wishes that Nick Sirianni sort of like rubbed it in people's faces a bit more with his speech. You know what I mean? Just like make a reference to like the flowers growing or something like that. You know what I mean? Just to like sort of like, but they kept the main thing. Even at the parade, it was just like, yeah, we've won it. Now we're back to business. You know what I mean? It's just the professionalism is insane. You know what I mean? And yeah,
Right. Yep.
yeah, just awesome. So yeah, it's going to be an important draft. I can't wait. It's going to be really exciting, really nerve wracking to sort of see what they do and see how he moves around. Do they stay at 32? Do they do what they did in the last one? It's going to be crazy. So I think we'll have to end it there, boys. Cool. Thanks for coming on with us. You can come back on again with us, whenever you want. So
You got pod is great. I love coming on whenever you want to have me.
Thanks for the support.
Yeah, love having you on, brother. Love it.
Yeah, we'll see what they do now the draft, and then in a couple of weeks we'll do like a big reaction, and we'll analyze everything around the NFL, who they've all taken, who the Eagles have taken, whether it's hurt us, whether it's made us better. We got that coming in a couple of weeks, and Drew will come on with us, and Corey, you can come back on with us as well if you want. So
Awesome.
it's gonna be great. So happy draft week.
Yes,
can't wait
sir.
to draft this next Thursday. Thanks everyone for listening and giving us a watch. Like, subscribe, and as ever, go Birds.
Go Birds.
Love y'all, mate.